Team ASCO, super excited to be here today with a couple of great friends from the VACALL team. Mark Zingo works for VACALL, one of our great reps that we work with every day, and a good friend of Team ASCO, Brian Balchumas from Denver, Colorado. He's a very successful VACALL dealer. They're going to take some time and walk you through this machine behind us, and we're going to have a great day of training. So we really appreciate you being here and paying attention. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Brian. Today we're going to be talking about the VACALL AJV 1215 sewer cleaning truck. A little bit of history on this piece of equipment. The guys who designed this designed some of the first sewer cleaning trucks that were on the market. The Ramrodder, the Guzzler, and that company was sold to Federal Signal at one point. All the guys who designed those trucks left at that time and decided to go and design their own equipment, which was what we see here today. And what they did after designing those first trucks was they learned from the contractors and customers they sold them to, and basically listened to what they liked, what they didn't like, and improved all of the things on those previous trucks into the design of this truck. Everything on this truck is done for a reason. So the original version of this truck was called a Safe Jet Vac. It was Clean Earth, was the original company that designed it. They built trucks for about 10-15 years or so, and in 2006 got acquired by the Alamo Group, which rebranded the product VACALL, moved it from its build facility down in Alabama up to New Philadelphia, Ohio, to the Great All manufacturing facility where it's built to this day. So the original design and layout of this truck is identical to the Clean Earth truck, with improvements, throughout the years and refinements. But everything on this truck is purpose-built and there for a reason. And when we walk around the truck, I'm going to kind of show you how all that comes together, why this makes it the best performing truck and the easiest to use, based on all of that feedback and customer input to get us where we are today. When talking about the controls for the VACALL, it's good to emphasize the simplicity of it. And the way this truck is designed is based directly on customer feedback, needing to be able to run the truck easily and intuitively as possible. So a lot of municipalities or contractors may not run the truck day to day, and being able to come back to it and run it simply was a lot of what went into this design. So it's as simple as selecting what you want the truck to do. So jet mode, Hydro-X mode, clean wash, tank flush. You just simply pick what you want it to do, engage your water, and it'll do that function for you. It's as simple as hitting your mode button and then selecting between jet mode, Hydro-X mode, clean wash down gun, or tank flush, and then engaging your water. The truck handles all of the valving. As far as what is shown on the screen here, we have our engine RPM, water tank level, blower temperature, water pressure output, vacuum level, and hose reel footage counter. You have the ability to reset your hose reel speed, reset your footage, mute your low water alarm, engage your engine and water controls, and then your mode button. Down here you have your engine RPM control, your water level pressure, your vacuum relief for your blower system, your blower engagement switch, work lights, reel up down for raising and lowering the hose reel, as well as your auxiliary hydraulics, and your air actuated band brake release button. Hose reel in-out control, fully proportional, and boom, up, down, left, right, in and out joystick, also fully proportional. You have a secondary screen here which would show your hour meters, which do count your main hours, your blower, and your water pump, so you can accurately service all the components on the sewer cleaner. You have some built-in diagnostics where you can see any active codes related to the sewer cleaner portion of the truck. You also have the ability to do switch panel testing, so you can see whether a switch is functioning properly or not. and that will work for any of the switch panels on the truck. You also have the ability to switch between metric and imperial, also between languages of English and Spanish on the truck. And then just your software version runs out there. So now we'll talk a little bit about the CAN bus system we use on the truck. CAN bus enables us to do a lot of different things, like the proportional controls I talked about earlier, gives us a lot of precise control of our hose reel, boom functions, which add to a lot of the safety of running the truck. CAN bus also eliminates operator error. So take, for instance, engaging our blower needs to be engaged at idle. Well, if an operator happens to be running at higher idle and hits the blower button, the truck just won't allow it to do that, preventing it from damaging the transfer case. So the operator just has to correct whatever the situation is, and then the truck will do what you want. So a lot of that is built into it to reduce operator mistakes, keep down repair costs. So let's take a look at hose reel speed. So we do have the ability to set a maximum hose reel speed on the reel. So when it's set to whatever maximum you choose, when the joystick is depressed fully, it'll go that maximum speed. So at 40% or 47%, that'd be 47% of its fastest speed. So you'll still have the ability to proportionally control the reel, but it will max out at that top speed you set it at. So the water functions and engine functions work in exactly the same way, in that you would select your engine speed and then increase the RPM. Same with the water, you'll select what pressure you want the truck to run at and you'll run the pressure up. You can also select either engine or water and then control it with the knob the same way you do with the hose reel speed control. So the control box is fully adjustable, can be set for wherever the operator prefers, has a locking pin for underneath during transport. The control box is also fully removable and can be disconnected from the system, stored in a toolbox for safekeeping. Also, we can provide a pedestal mount and wiring on the other side of the truck, so you can set it up on either side of the reel if you prefer. The next feature we're going to talk about is the reel up-down function on the control panel here. So when you need to do full service on the truck and have to open the hood completely, we have to get the hose reel out of the way. So our reel tilts down to get out of the way. To bring it back up, we have a 12-volt auxiliary hydraulic pump that will run with the truck just with the key turned on. So by pressing that button, it raises the hose reel back up under 12-volt control. The nice feature with this function is, say you're out in the real world and the engine dies on your truck and you got 600 feet of hose in the pipe and your boom's extended, you need to get that in so you can get the truck serviced. You can hold this reel up down button and run any of the hydraulics on the truck without the engine running under 12-volt power. A few features of our hose reel capacity up to 1,000 feet of 1-inch hose, automatic level wind for wrapping your hose, hose tensioner, air actuated band brake. So for rotation of our reel, we can release, we use a friction brake so the reel can lock into any position. There's no gears or pins to mesh up. A lot more reliable system. One of the other things that's unique to the VACALL, we use a planetary gearbox to direct drive the hose reel. A lot of other manufacturers will use a motor and chain system to run their hose reel. What we found was the chains have a tendency to break, and typically when they break is in the middle of a job. With the direct drive planetary gearbox, find it to be a lot more reliable. It's a similar type of motor that's used to drive like a forklift, so it can handle the starting and stopping of this hose reel. Another feature of the VACALL is the fleet friendliness. Down below the hose reel here, we have a bank of grease zerks for lubricating everything related to the hose reel. All of those grease zerks include a label plate that tell you exactly what you're greasing, so you know what you're greasing and how much grease to add. At the front of the truck here, you'll see we have a bumper mounted toolbox, great for storage of small items like nozzles and hand tools, things that you might need easy access to when operating at the front hose reel. As we walk down the side, we're going to talk about how we power the VACALL. So one of the things unique about the VACALL is we don't touch the engine and transmission. They're the two single most expensive parts of the chassis you choose to have our VACALL installed on. So we don't put any front mount PTOs, any transmission mount PTOs. So you don't run into any of those issues of, oh, it's the upfitter's fault that you have a transmission problem, or it's the transmission's the problem, not us as the upfitter. So kind of makes the truck more fleet friendly in the fact that we don't mess with the engine and transmission. The way we power our system is through a split shaft transfer case. Works pretty simply. We run our drive line into our transfer case, the drive line goes out to our rear axles, powers the truck normally. When we go into work mode, we simply shift out of drive mode to pump mode. All of the power goes up into the transfer case, and that drive line to the rear axles is locked out. All that power will run our hydraulics and our blower. So now we'll talk a little bit about the fleet friendliness of the VACALL. So right here on the side of the truck, we have platform steps. So you have a place if you needed to service something up on the boom to stand. The other thing on this side of the truck is our sight glass for our hydraulic oil is easily visible. The sight glass for our blower, as well as our transfer case, are all visible from the driver's side of the truck. The next thing adding to the fleet friendliness of our truck is all of the controllers and fuses and everything related to the VACALL are housed in one compartment here on the side of the truck, so you can access everything in one location. The other thing related to fleet friendliness is the truck is designed to be open, so that if you do need to get to something, you can get to it easily. The other thing we do is all of our hydraulic lines, we run in tracks and keep them separated on the truck. So if you ever have an issue with a hydraulic line, it's easy to identify and easy to service. The manufacturer also tries to keep the hoses to a serviceable length of 8 to maybe 10 feet so that you don't have a 40-foot hose that you have to replace on the truck. So again, adding to the fleet friendliness, making it easy to service and work on in the rare instances that you have to do that. Now let's talk about the vacuum system on the VACALL. So we use a Roots 824 blower producing 18 inches of vacuum. Same blower as pretty much every other manufacturer on the market uses, but we can out vacuum every other manufacturer on the market. So we can easily pull the depths of 50 to 60 feet with this truck, where a lot of other manufacturers are limited to 30 to 40 feet of depth. So how do we do that? Well, it starts at the end of the boom here. We have our 8-inch pipe. As the material pulls in, goes through our heavy-duty reinforced steel elbow, which reduces maintenance costs. It goes from there into our tube-and-tube boom. From there, it comes to our corrugated rubber hose here, which is the interconnect between our debris body. Our rubber hose, unlike a lot of other manufacturers, is actually bigger than 8 inches. That's by design, so that any material that comes in that fits at the 8-inch pipe there will make it into the debris body, reducing clogs and material getting stuck in our boom. So from there, we have our make break, which is a ball and socket design. So it seals better than what other manufacturers use, is typically 2 flat plates that come together. Your debris body settles down onto the boom, and that's how it seals. The problem with that design is sometimes the body can lift up and reduce your seal and reduce your vacuum capability. With our ball and socket, it can't come apart, whether you're on uneven ground or a surface that might flex the body, ours won't come apart. So that helps increase our efficiency. So as it goes from there, our inlet pipe actually runs the full length of the inside of the debris body. So that pipe is actually on the ceiling of the debris body, and it comes to the last rib on the truck there. So at this point, as that material is in the airstream, we want to start to remove the material from the airstream as it gets into the body, and we want it to stay in the body. So the first thing that helps remove the material from the airstream is the disruption we create. We go from the 9-inch pipe into the body to a deflector plate that's replaceable inside the body. As that air hits that deflector plate, it disrupts the airflow and starts dropping the material out of the airstream. The next stage of disruption is we're going from that small inlet pipe into our body after the deflector plate and going into this large debris body, which essentially functions as an expansion chamber. So as that air comes in, hits the deflector plate, material starts dropping out. The airflow now slows down as it enters that bigger debris body, and any remaining material starts to drop out of the airstream. The next level of filtration is the fact that our outlet pipe and our inlet pipe are as far as we physically can get them away from each other on the truck. So that air has to travel all the way to the front, dropping out 98% of the material from the airstream. Then as it comes out of the body, you'll see the cast elbow, 90 here, here, as well as behind the water tank and then into the blower. We use cast elbows because it's the most efficient way for the air to get through the truck. A lot of other manufacturers will take pipe and cut it and then weld it together to make the 22s or 90-degree bends they might need to. It's a cheaper way of doing it, but it's not as efficient. So we use cast elbows so that we reduce any turbulence in our airflow, which increases the efficiency on our truck. So as the air then exits the debris body, it will come into our final filtration here, which is our cyclone, which will spin out any remaining material. There's also a screen in there that will prevent any large debris that might carry over from getting into the blower. And then as it goes into the blower, it exits out through the silencer. So the cyclone here is really important. We use this particular cyclone because the original designers of this truck built plexiglass versions of cyclones to see exactly what was going on inside. What they discovered was the bigger the cyclone, the better. It makes a lot of sense because if you think of something like a wood shop and you've ever seen the dust collection system on that, it's usually one great big cyclone. So by having bigger surface area like this, it gives the air more space to spin out and drop any material. It also prevents us from causing a restriction and reducing our efficiency. Now that we're done with the vacuum system, the control box here contains all of your rear door open close, debris body up down, sludge pump. You can also run your clean wash down gun here, as well as your tank flush. Behind it, we have a pressure gauge that just shows what your hydraulic system for the entirety of the truck is running at. Next, we have our toolboxes. So it's our latest design of toolbox. They're 24 by 24 and 72 inches deep on this side. It is a 2-door cabinet. It does have a center support in the middle, but it is fully open, so you can fit your longer tools, like say your wands for your Hydro X system. It has some hooks inside of it, as well as lighting. The hooks are great for hanging clamps for your vacuum tubes or putting other items up off the bottom, so keep more space open. Other thing we have here as well is hold down clamps for high use items, like your wash down gun. So it's a place to store it that's easy to get to, so you can get to the things you need right when you need them. I'm going to talk about the water tanks now. So VACALL's tanks are all aluminum. We've got 1/4-inch sidewalls, 1/2-inch bulkheads. The water tanks are baffled. Everywhere you see a weld seam, there's a baffle inside the tank. That's to help control the sloshing of the water. So the baffles are basically aluminum walls inside there. They have large holes drilled in them to allow water through. They're also open on the bottom. So if you ever get material inside your tanks, they're easy to clean out. So you can simply park the truck on an angle, open your rear drain, and then up top you have an access port where you can flood the tank and flush any material out of them. Each one of these tanks is hand built. It's only allowed to be produced by a few people within the factory. Each one is serial numbered, and it's the single most expensive part of the truck. They're built so well, they come with a lifetime warranty. So if they ever crack or there's a defect, the manufacturer will either replace it or repair it for you at no additional charge. So on the side of the truck here, we've got a storage area for wheel chocks for the truck. Then right here, this handle is actually for our debris body safety prop. So again, with the design of the VACALL is they made it easy for you to put the safety prop in, versus a lot of other manufacturers actually have to get under the debris body to put the safety prop in place. Our handle's right here, making it easy so that you can use it. As we come to the back, you can see the drain I mentioned earlier on our water tank. There's an identical one on the other side of the truck for the other side. Now that we're at the back of the truck, we're going to discuss several things about the design of this truck and why they are the way they are. So our water tanks are the shape they are so that we can fit all of the water capacity we need over the rear axles of the truck. The truck is designed to carry the heaviest load over the rear axles. So when they designed this truck, the water tanks had to be this elliptical shape, so we'd have the capacity we need of 1,500 gallons. Because we do our tanks like that, our debris body also had to be elliptical so that we could fit it. So the elliptical body, though, gives us some advantages over our competitor versus a round body design. With it being elliptical, our interior walls are almost flat. So it's very similar to like a dump truck. So we have a narrower dump path than most other trucks. We tend to get a cleaner dump as well versus a round body, where sometimes material can stick up on the sides, requires additional cleaning. We just get a much cleaner dump. As far as the debris body goes as well, the width and shape of it and the way it's reinforced and built enables us to hot dip galvanize it. It'll fit inside a zinc bath at 1200 degrees and we can galvanize it. With it being hot dip galvanized, we include a lifetime warranty on it against corrosion. So essentially, our water tanks and our debris body, when it's galvanized, the whole back end of this truck has a lifetime warranty on it against corrosion. So now we're going to look at the door, and you can see how heavy duty reinforced this door is. That's a 1/2 inch plate steel, then with the reinforced ribbing. Our locking and unlocking mechanism is as simple as it can be. It's one cylinder that raises and pulls out a reverse wedge locks from the door. When it reaches the top of the stroke, it opens the door up to 90 degrees. So it's as simple as it can be. A lot of other manufacturers require multiple hydraulic cylinders for the locks on the round bodies to seal them properly, as well as separate cylinders just for lifting the door. So there's no sequencing involved, it's just open or close. Very, very easy, so you don't have to unlock and then lift. It's all one action. It's as simple as we can make it. And with our debris body being a completely flat surface on the back, with our reverse wedges, it presses that door tight against the back wall of this debris body and seals it. So leaks are almost non-existent on our truck because of the way it's designed. So the seal that's in there presses firmly against the back of the truck and seals it up. Other items on the rear door here, we have our trash pump. So what this does is produces about 710 gallons a minute, and what it allows the truck to function as is a bypass pump. So this trash pump is powerful enough that you can be vacuuming, say, liquid, say a water main break or something. You're trying to get water out of a hole to fix it. The truck can vacuum that water off, and then this pump can actually pump off against the vacuum and pump that water away, so you can work and still bypass water at the same time. So very handy feature, really popular option on the truck. Your other one over here is your gravity decant. So this would just be a drain for inside the debris body to drain out liquid if you needed to. So both of these outlets have screens inside the door, which you'll see when the door is open. The screens drop down in front of the inlets for both of these. The trash pump can handle material up to 1.5 inches going through it, but the screen that drops down in front limits it to about 3/4 of an inch size material. Those screens are designed that when this door opens, they'll actually drop down out of the way. Reason we do that is so you can wash them out and clean them easily. So again, just as far as maintenance goes, makes it a little bit easier to live with. A few more things related to the rear of the truck. We have a backup camera standard on our truck, rear aero board, 2 work lights for lighting up your back area of your truck. We also have our ground level grease zerks here for everything related to the rear door. They're labeled the same as in the front of the truck I showed earlier. Right here we have a 3/8 plate steel cone holder, which this is a great example of how VACALL builds everything heavy duty. So being 3/8 plate steel, this is probably good for about 200, maybe 300 cones before it'll start to bend. Right here we also have additional tube storage. So you can put 2 more vacuum tubes on the back of the truck here if you need additional piping for vacuuming. Last thing on the rear door, so as I talked about earlier, we have the trash pump decant system. So with a front rail truck, we do offer an optional hose that can connect from here to our fitting here, and this actually runs all the way to the front of the truck, and you can decant out right where you're working at the same time. So if you wanted to, rather than bypass away from the truck, you could bypass right to where you're working if you wanted to pump off back into, say, a manhole or something. So as we walk our way around the rest of the truck, you'll see another wheel chock holder right here. We have one more bank of grease zerks for the hoist cylinder on the truck, again at ground level. Come up to our other side toolbox here. This one is a little bit shorter than the other side. Same 24 by 24 inch size. This one does feature some internal drawers on each side, so you can put some smaller items, nozzles, hand tools, things like that you might need to access quicker. Again, we have the same hold down clamps for holding high use items like your Hydro X wand or your fire hydrant wrench. This one also has lighting inside of it as well. And from this side, you can see some of the matting we put in the bottom to help keep your tools and things off the bottom of the toolbox, as you might get dirt and grime in here. Keeps your stuff cleaner. So if you look up, you'll see a red indicator on the debris body. That's your debris body level. So come here to the end of the water tank. You can see where our water fill hookup here is for your fresh water. Goes up in, it has an air gap on the top of the water tank. We have a visual sight level tube here, as well as a digital sensor that reads out at the front control panel for your water level. Here the water can go directly to the water pump through our filtration into our triplex pump, which we'll talk about in a second. We also have the ability to shut off the water from our main water pump and go into what is our 12-volt cold weather recirculation pump. This can allow you to circulate water through the jet hose all the way through the pump and back into the tank, running 12-volt power. So you can do this while driving to a job to help reduce the risk of freezing. So the VACALL uses a triplex pump. This particular one is an MWSR 50 general water pump. So we use 3 pistons in here for pulling in and pushing water out. You have 3 suction valves down here, as well as 3 discharge valves. So it pulls water in, pushes out pressurized water, comes to our distribution water block here. So this is where all of the water is controlled to, where it goes. Each one of these orange indicator items here is an actuator. So those basically open and close the ball valves and determine where the water is going to go in the truck. That's all controlled at the front panel. We have a water pressure relief valve here. The truck is rated to run at 87 gallons a minute at 2,000 PSI. The pressure relief valve will prevent you from overpressurizing the truck. We have a hookup for our washdown gun, which is set up for 850 PSI at 20 gallons a minute. And then we have our higher pressure Hydro X wand set up here. It's 2,000 PSI at about 20 gallons a minute as well. All of that runs off this single triplex pump. Advantages to the triplex pump are it gives you smooth flow, consistent 87 gallons a minute, very easy to service. Part of the fleet friendliness of this design as well is the pump is put here at this height, so it's easy to work on. We're also able to mount our pump higher, going back to where we've placed our water tanks. Our water tanks being set up high above the rear axles enables us to put our water pump at a higher level than most other manufacturers have to hang their pumps down low because their water tanks are down low. So we can positive feed water to our water pump because of the design. Additional information related to the pump, we hydrostatically drive it. So this water pump can do up to 87 gallons a minute, but can run anywhere in the range of 50 to 87 based on what nozzle we put on the end of it, simply by spinning the pump faster or slower. So we can also vary the pressure from anywhere from 500 PSI up to the 2,000 PSI. We also have a cold weather air blowout. So if the truck needed to be stored outdoors in a below freezing conditions, you can blow air through the entirety of the water system and winterize the truck and prevent it from freezing and damaging any items on it. And that runs right off of the air on the truck. On this side of the truck, we can more clearly see the ball and socket make break for the boom. When we fire the truck up, we can show exactly how that works, but those items separate as the debris body comes up, come back together as the debris body goes down. Another feature on our truck is the worm drive for moving our boom 90 degrees to each side of the truck. By using that worm gear, whatever position we stop that boom, it is mechanically locked in place. Some other manufacturers use a piston system to push and pull the boom. There is a greater chance that the boom could slip versus using a worm gear setup like this, that you could get boom drift. With this, our boom's locked in place. On our silencer here, this is where the air comes out from our blower. Attached to it is our tube rack, which holds up to 4 tubes. In addition to the tube rack we showed you on the back of the truck as well. The final ground level grease zerk location is down here right under the water pump. You have a bank of grease zerks labeled just the same as the others so that you know what you're greasing. This is the belly pack remote that's available for the truck. It has all of the same functionality as the main control panel we showed. So you can basically select whatever mode you want for the truck as far as water. You have your jet mode, your tank flush, your clean wash down gun, or your Hydro X, all controlled right here. You have your boom up, down, left, right, in, out. These are fully proportional, same as it is at the main control panel. Hose reel in, out control, water pump up, throttle control up and down as well. We have the ability to engage our blower as well as our vacuum relief. We can turn on the sludge pump we showed in the back. You can reset footage counter through this as well. Then we have these 2 blue switches here. The others are white and these 2 are blue. These are your dump controls. These will not function unless you hold the button on the side here that is also labeled blue. This is an interlock so that you don't accidentally dump your truck. So you have to hold this button for these functions to work. This has a range of about 1,500 feet from the truck, has a built-in replaceable battery pack. There's a spare that charges up in the cab, so you always have power when you need it. As we discussed earlier, here are the screens that drop into place when the door is closed. Drop down like this to make them easier to clean. We also have our rear door safety prop that drops right into the perfect position. There's no additional tools or anything required, just simply pull the pin here, drop it down into place. Okay, time to go for a walk and show you what the remote can do. So I'm a good 300-400 feet from the truck now. I'm going to go ahead and move the boom up. Swing it around, extend it. I can activate my blower if need be. Disengage my blower. Close my rear door. Any of the functions. Hundreds of feet away from the truck. Now I'm going to turn on the tank flush so you can see the full 87 gallons a minute, 2,000 PSI the jets can put out of this truck. I'll also lower the door down in and show you how you can use the jets to clean off the door as well while you're at it.